So this is what we're talking about today, is just do the next thing, right? There's a poem by Elizabeth Elliot that was popularized by Elizabeth Elliot that talks about just doing the next thing. Do the next thing, Elizabeth Elliot. Here it is. From an old English parsonage down by the sea, there came in the twilight a message to me. Its quaint Saxon legend, deeply engraven, hath, it seems to me, teaching from heaven. And on through the doors the quiet word rings like low inspiration, do the next thing. Many a question, many a fear, many a doubt hath its quieting here. Moment by moment, let down from heaven, time, opportunity, and guidance are given. Fear not tomorrows, child of the King. Trust them with Jesus. Do the next thing. Do it immediately. Do it with prayer. Do it reliantly, casting all care. Do it with reverence, tracing his hand, who placed it before thee with earnest command. Stayed on omnipotence, safe neath his wing. Leave all results. Do the next thing. Looking for Jesus, ever serener. Working or suffering be thy demeanor. In his dear presence the rest of his calm. The light of his countenance be thy psalm. Strong in his faithfulness, praise and sing. Then as he beckons thee, do the next thing. So what's the next thing? The reason why I'm sharing this is because I hadn't been doing this for 2 weeks, and I'm already kind of like, am I wasting my time? Am I really, surely I can do something better than this. And my mother had this printed out, and I saw it. It was that particular line. Leave the results. Do the next thing. Kind of reminds me of an old hymn that says what a privilege it is to carry everything to God in prayer, regardless of whether you're struggling or not struggling, or what. I mean, everybody's struggling nowadays. The thing that I've had to come to figure out and rely on is to figure out where is God working and go there. Well, how do you figure out where God's working? You have to read. You have to know who God is. You can't expect miraculous things if you're not willing to do the bare minimum, which is read the book that he specifically wrote for us to follow. So that was the idea, right? And I've had this YouTube channel on my mind for a while, at least a year and a half, 2 years. Finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And so here I am, doing the next thing. I have no idea whether this is actually going to take off and be successful, or if it's just going to be another failure and I will have done this stuff for little to nothing. But just like in the poem, just like in the hymn, I just got to pray and keep moving forward. And sometimes that's difficult, and sometimes it's a little more challenging than other times. But it's taking that next step. It's almost Christmas time now, so if you want to quote the movie, put one foot in front of the other. Put that in the comments if you know what movie that's from. Even better if you know what scene and who's singing it. I was called to ministry when I was 13 years old. I was very young. I didn't have people rally around me and, all right, we're praying for you. And I had some people that said that, but for the most part, most of the people just kind of were like, oh, that's nice. That was about it. That was 20 years ago. Every single time, without necessarily knowing the poem offhand, it was just, what's the next thing? Where is God moving right now? And if I could find where God was moving, that's where I wanted to be. Right now, that's here on YouTube. What does he have in store? I have no idea. but I'm here for it. And if this is where I can serve best, then great. If not, this door will close and another will open. So what about those who are not necessarily called into vocational ministry, but you still feel like you just don't know where to go? Well, again, and this sounds like a trite little answer, but start reading. Develop the habit to read every day, whether that's using a devotional, which I have several I can recommend. Imitation of Christ, Experiencing God, Henry Blackaby, they made a devotional out of that. It's very good. I have one for Charles Spurgeon that is really good if you're into reading a little bit more heady stuff. There's lots of devotions out there. There's lots of things that your main goal is just moving the goalpost forward, if you will. And he wasn't trying to say that to throw a stinger at me or, anything like that. He was simply just saying, like, you've forgotten what this is all about, what ministry is about, what the Christian life is really all about. It's about bringing people to Christ. It's about spreading the gospel, the good news that man can be reconciled back to God by grace through faith. I'll get it out in a second. And shortly after that, I started serving people, and it was hard because I was kind of bitter, and I wasn't. I mean, you get that way sometimes. And then it started happening. It was, oh, he's right. I did forget how to, even when someone does something that just makes you absolutely mad, that you can just look at them and be like, I guess God's not done with them. He's not done with me either. So I guess it's all right, and we'll move forward. But when you're in the Word every day and you're serving people and you're serving His church, whatever that local congregation that you're a part of is, serve. And you'll start to see God moving in places. And if that place is not where you are currently, go where He is. The safest place that anyone can be is right in the middle of God's will. Of course, that leads into what is God's will. Matthew 28:19-20. That is His will.